Good morning. A very warm welcome to one and all who are attending this webinar from Ramaiah Evolute today. We're gathered here today to talk about the Ramaiah Evolute Program, as well as the Star Startup Award. I'd like to introduce to all of you our two distinguished speakers. Let me start with Samartha. Samartha is the advisor to the Gokula Education Fund at Trust Education Foundation. Samartha is also the creator of the Ramaiah Evolute Program. He is the chief mentor and chief strategist for this program. Before this, along with this, Samartha has been CEO at 4 public companies: Kyocera, Mindtree, Videocon, and 5bars. Samartha has also been a serial entrepreneur and has successfully set up 5 startups which have been successful. He's also part of an accelerated venture capitalist fund in the US. Samartha has a lot of accomplishments and brings in a lot of experience, both from enterprise as well as startup, and is a great value add to run this program. So welcome, Samartha.
Thanks, Sumitha.
Next up, we have Murali, who's our other speaker, who is a technocrat who has been in the industry for a very long period of time with a lot of success stories. Murali has built teams grounds up and run a successful business at Saskin. It's our pleasure and honor to have Murali as the CEO of this Ramaiah Evolute Program. So welcome to both of you. Looking forward to a very engaging conversation from all the startups who apply to Ramaiah Evolute.
Thank you, Sumitha.
Okay, so thanks, Sumitha. I'll be initially presenting what Ramaiah Evolute is all about, and then we will open for question and answers.
Okay.
So welcome all entrepreneurs, founders, ideators, dreamers. Okay, welcome to this particular webinar. Essentially, we started Ramaiah Evolute. We did a soft launch in March, and we started applications. Okay. We started inviting applications about 20-30 days back, and then we have started. We are looking at starting the entire Evolute program for this this calendar year in August 2021. Ramaiah Evolute has 2 distinct pieces. One is a Star Startup Award, and the other is the Evolute program. So this is the first batch where we are starting both the Star Startup Award and the Evolute programs at this point in time. And essentially, just to give a little more detail about what a Star Startup Award is. So we are inviting applications from across India. We are inviting startups to apply for Startup Award across India. And we'll be selecting the top 25 startups, which are essentially in cross-technology and multidisciplinary kind of cross-disciplinary, multidisciplinary, cross-technology kind of a thing. It has to have high innovation and high technology kind of a stuff, and it has to have a high impact on the society. So we are looking at that kind of startups, and we will be looking at top 25. We'll be selecting top 25 out of all the applications that we receive. We'll be looking at the top 25 startups which will get these awards. There's a lot of value for this particular award. Essentially, anybody can apply for this award, not necessarily for the people who are necessarily joining the Evolute program, but any startup. Okay, if you just qualify as a startup, you can apply for this particular award. With this, you will get recognized globally, and will get recognized across India that Ramaiah Evolute has recognized you as one of the upcoming startups. Okay, that itself will add to your portfolio for your own marketing, for your own pride for the startup, okay, you can use this particular award. So anybody can apply. It's not necessary that you want to join Evolute program. That's why you are applying. You can just apply for just startup as well. So that is the first thing. Till date, we have announced that the last date for the application for this particular award is June 15. We understand the COVID situation, especially the second wave and the carnage that it has caused in India across all the states. Taking that into consideration, we have extended it till June 30th. Okay, so till June 30th, you can apply for Star Startup Award. And this is, okay, you don't have to, you can apply independently for this and not necessarily have to join the Evolute program. So that is the
I wanted to bring in this safety topics that we discussed.
The next thing is the Evolute program itself. We have announced this particular thing across, and most of you who have joined here, you have either saw us on LinkedIn, and you might have seen us in Facebook or Instagram, or maybe you have applied through a mail response, or you might have applied through TIE. Okay, TIE Bangalore has supported us. They are our partners, and they are pushing, they have pushed all these messages to all the startups out there to encourage you to apply for this particular thing. So this is the Evolute program. In the Evolute program, what we are doing is, one is you're completely, the startup gets funded. We give a pre-series A, series A kind of funding to the startup. And apart from providing the funding, we are providing a complete 360-degree support, in the sense that once you are in the Evolute program, you will operate from Ramaiah campus that is in Bangalore. And there we are providing a world-class facility. So you will be sitting and operating in a world-class facility. And you will have mentors, okay, very distinguished and a very high-profile set of mentors, both on product management and product marketing, and also on technology architecture and technology creation and technology development and test and all those kind of things. So you will get both kind of supports in this. And apart from the mentorship, you will also get every possible thing that you require for startup. You will require, for example, if you want to do IPs, patents, provisionals, okay, so you will get that particular support. If you want to do market research, if you want to do kind of competitive analysis, you will get that kind of a support. If you want to have labs, access to Ramaiah has an extremely good set of labs, not only in medical sciences, but also in pharmaceuticals and biotechnology and IT and telecom, every possible lab, okay, and also has an extremely good design lab. So you'll get access to the labs, you'll get access to the libraries. Apart from that, Ramaiah Group has a whole bunch of researchers, and you will get access to all those researchers. For example, if there is a researcher in your topic who has already done some amount of deep research, okay, you can always look at them supporting you. So those are the kind of things that you will get. And the funding is up to 50 lakhs. Not necessarily that you will consume the entire 50 lakh, but the funding is up to 50 lakh. And if you need more, we will also facilitate for co-investor to participate and to start with. Then in the Evolute program, you are taken into the Evolute program, you are staying in the campus for 18 months to 24 months. And then post that particular thing, you will be taken for the next round, which is either a Series B funding, or you will be taken to a purchase by a corporate, or you will be launched into the market. So you will have all these kind of a thing, support that is provided here. So we will take you from the real startup stage to us ensuring that you will succeed Okay, and we'll be providing a complete 360-degree support on that particular thing. And as I said, we have a bunch of highly distinguished mentors, both on the product development areas and also product management and go-to-market areas. So we have mentors like Dr. M.T. Arvind, who has successfully launched multiple startups and is a serial entrepreneur. He's a PhD from IISc. We have Ashwin, who was a chief technologist at Sasken and has done a lot of things on both automotive and telecom. We have Deepak Saini, who's been a product manager and a design and a data science head in multiple companies, including Flipkart, Citrix, Amex, kind of thing. And then we have Girish, who has taken multiple startups through funding stages in his distinguished career. And we have a AI and ML guru, Dr. Karthik Ponnalagu. He has been with IBM and Bosch, and he is one of the known names on both the AI and ML. And then we have Meenakshi, who is a designer, and Nagendra and Shilpa and Sumitha, who come with a lot of technology and architecture background in distinct areas. And we also have a medical technology expert, one of the very renowned medical technology expert, Padmanabh Holla, who is a mentor. And we also have Sumitha, who has done a lot of product management and go-to-market strategies for a lot of good companies from US. And we have a full coverage on automotive in the mentorship of Vishwas, who comes with a heavy Bosch background and shop floor background. Okay, so that is the kind of a thing. Most importantly, till date, we have announced for Startup Awards and the Evolute program, we have announced that the last date is June 15th, but now due to the COVID situation, we are extending it to June 30th. So people who are waiting for this webinar and wanting to apply after this particular webinar can apply today, tomorrow, or you can get your act together and apply a little later also, but sooner the better, because we'll be looking at all these things. And once we get all the applications till June 30th, we'll be taking time till in July to get the whole applications processed. And sometime in July, towards the end of July, we'll be announcing the Startup Award and also inviting you all to the campus, the selected people to the campus, and then we'll go through the whole churn. And finally, in August, 10 companies of the entire lot will start the Evolute program. So this is what we are planning at this point in time. And now we can probably open the floor for question and answers.
We are yet to receive our first question, Samartha, Murali. So we'll hang in there to see who's going to give us the first question. While we are waiting, Samartha, do you want to throw some more light in terms of the segments we are looking at for startup ideas?
Yeah, so we are welcoming any cross-disciplinary company, which is, any company in any technology can apply. Okay, right now we have not focused on only these technologies have to apply, those technologies have to apply. So it's a much broad-based. We are encouraging all technologies and all different markets to apply. And we will be, as we go on, we might bring in some focus, but at this point in time, we don't have any kind of a favor for one technology over the other.
Okay. That kind of answered the first question we had, which was, is there any specific technology domain being focused on? So Murali, would you like to take this question? The question is, mine is still in an idea stage. Could we still apply for the program?
Yes, of course. We invite startups right from the idea stage. All early stage startups are welcome. So from idea stage, even before you actually register as a company, we are okay to look at you as a participant.
Okay. The next question we have is, Murali, just again to you. Do you consider companies already functional and looking for scaling?
Yes, we do. I mean, I think anybody, any company who is sort of before the Series A kind of phase is welcome. The Series A and beyond companies may not be looking at the kind of approach that we have. They probably have already reached the scale that is required. So anybody up to that level, I would think, could be a potential participant in the Ramaiah Evolute program.
Okay, thank you, Murali. Samartha, this is for you. What is Ramaiah Evolute recognized startups? How is that different from Ramaiah Evolute program?
So Ramaiah Evolute recognized startups are 25 startups every year. So we invite applications and all over to apply for this award called Star Startup Award. And the top 25 are recognized by Ramaiah Evolute as one of the upcoming and potentially high potential and good idea kind of a startup. So that is for recognized by Ramaiah Evolute. The program is where we take the company into our fold and we fund the company and we take the company through 18 to 24 months of mentoring, full funding, and all sorts of support at a very low cost, institutional cost we are supporting. So that particular thing is the Ramaiah Evolute program. So once you join the Evolute program, you are almost for 2 years within the Ramaiah campus and you're getting the entire ammunition to make your startup successful.
Okay. Either of you can take this question. Please elaborate on the commercial dynamics between Ramaiah Evolute and startups, or both of you can give your perspective on this.
Sure. Okay. So there are multiple levels of engagement. We will be an incubator, and we will be an investor, and we will also be a provider of services and for the startup. So I would think there would be multiple levels of commercial engagement. The basic one is that we will provide investment. So we will be an investor in the company. Number two is that we will provide multiple services, like Samartha explained earlier. We could, startup could work with us and get, market research done. They could get some design done. They could get some lab facilities from Ramaiah and all that. Even though those contracts will directly be with the separate Ramaiah entities, we will, facilitate all that. We will also be providing the space. We will also be providing, basic infrastructure and other facilities. So in that sense, we are a service provider to the startups as well. So there are multiple levels of engagement. Primary ones, commercial primary ones, I think, are the investment and the service provision.
Samartha, would you like to add anything on top of what Murali said?
Essentially, we act as a fund. That's as Murali explained. And but one more thing is for the first few months, the nature of the fund will be in the nature of a grant, and later it will become kind of a stakeholding into the company. So that's the kind of commercial engagement that we will be having. And for all the services that we are providing, the services will be provided at institutional cost. When I say institutional cost, most of the startups are trying to sit in the startup hot areas like HSR or Kormangla or JP Nagar near Banerghatta Road. So those kind of places, these are all very expensive, and the real estate is expensive. Every aspect is expensive in that. So what we are doing is we are at Ramaiah Evolute, we are providing at a very institutional cost. Institutional costs are, I mean, if you understand educational cost structure, Okay, so it's a very low cost compared to everything. And for example, if you want to get a market research done, some startups try to get it done by reputed names like Ernst & Young or any other PwCs or any other companies. But you can get a market research done in the Ramaiah Group, high quality market research done in the Ramaiah Group at a very, very low cost, maybe 1/10, 1/15 of the cost. Same with IPR. Okay, anything as a startup, you don't want to party early. So that is very important for a startup. You need to conserve your cash. You need to have the conservation of the cash to run the complete runway till you succeed. So for that particular thing, it's very important that you conserve cash, and institutional cost is very important while you are running on this particular startup. So that is another part of the commercial engagement. So you are getting all the services at a very low cost, and you are getting fully funded for you to run through the runway. So these are the two commercial pieces. And initially, the way that we look at is for the first few months, we are giving them as a grant, and then we get it into a stakeholding. So that is the kind of commercial engagement that we are looking at.
Okay. The next question we have from Purushottam Kulkarni. I'll just read the question. Sir, I have applied it already and we are into the field of STEAM education. We are already a company and looking for scale up. Do you consider if we are into a hybrid model of STEAM education? So would one of you want to take this? Murali, want to take a shot?
Yeah, sure. And I think they're talking about the science and technology education. That's what I am taking from the question. Yes, of course, it's part of the edutech vertical. I think, Ramaiah as a group comes from a large and distinguished educational background. So all educational startups are welcome. Definitely, it's something that we would welcome.
The next question we have is, does the program include skill development? Samartha, you want to take this?
Yeah. So the program includes a lot of development. Actually, typically when the founders come in, they come with an idea and a passion for idea. And there are multiple aspects that they are not aware of in terms of what requires it. It could be soft skills, it could be what it takes to be an entrepreneur, okay, or it could be financial skills, the real skills in terms of financial skills or any other pieces. So marketing and how to do a digital marketing, how to do that, how to do this kind of stuff. So we will be definitely providing all sorts of skills and gear up the founders to be well-rounded entrepreneurs, okay. Because one of the struggle for an entrepreneur is to see all the peers going and drawing high salaries, and you are still struggling with the startup kind of a stuff. So that is, okay, how to take care of that, how to ensure that your personality grows beyond those kind of competitive things, that kind of a coaching and that kind of understanding how to be an entrepreneur to what kind of skills. For example, you don't know how to do a balance sheet, you don't know how to do a P&L, and you don't know how to peel the entire spend in terms of your cash. So those kind of things you are not, so those kind of skills will be provided. How to do digital marketing, how to do D2C or a B2B or anything. Okay, so all those go-to-market strategies will be given, those skills will be provided, and multiple other skills as we go along. So all these things will be provided. Apart from that, more importantly, when the founders come together, they go through a lot of teaming issues, okay, in the sense that they'll go to teaming, forming, storming, performing, those kind of forming, norming, storming, performing kind of stages. So we have a lot of OD, organization development and organization behavior kind of mentoring, where the team can stay together and keep the vision alive together. So that's one of the things that we'll also be doing at Ramaiah Evolute.
We have a couple of more questions. The next one is, do you have any collaboration with government agencies like Startup India, Startup Karnataka, etc.? Murali, you want to take this?
Yeah, we will be putting them in place. We will definitely have interfaces to most of the government bodies and startup related ecosystem, both in Karnataka and in India.
Okay.
That is part of the value that we will provide.
Okay. Murali, you can take this also. Do we get support as interns from Msr Institutions?
Yes. Okay, let me understand this question. There could be two things. One is that interns could work as interns in the startups that at Evolute. That is definitely a possibility. We will facilitate that for sure. And if you're an intern and you really want to, who have a startup idea and you want to come and join us as a startup, yes, that's welcome too. We will definitely have our doors will be open for you to apply for the startups as well.
Okay. Samartha, you could take this. Do you encourage startups who are in idea stage of new cryptocurrency creation?
Absolutely. So crypto is a very controversial topic, especially and given that we have lots of statements and okay. So, but we do encourage, especially a lot of technology for blockchain and crypto have been built in India. You understand if you understand the crypto space. So we definitely encourage anything to do with crypto. Of course, the go-to-market strategy, and we'll be thinking through as what is the right go-to-market strategies. We will encourage those companies also as well. And crypto is having a future. Okay, everybody knows that, and countries have started adopting crypto. So,
okay. Samartha, you could take this also. Will Ramaiah Evolute guarantee successful exit strategy for the startups?
Yes. So that is the most important piece. That we are guaranteeing, in the sense that, okay, of course, guaranteeing has its complete boundary conditions, but we want to guarantee that the startups entering the Evolute program have success in terms of either getting the next series of fund, or having go to the market, or ensuring that a corporate or somebody else buys the company, kind of a stuff at a higher value. So we want to ensure that particular exit happening from for the startup, and that is the kind of startups we are going to select into the program, which has that kind of a runway, and which has either the startup has legs or startup has wings. Okay, and it succeeds, kind of a stuff, and we'll take anything and everything to ensure that. But of course, there are companies which can pivot their strategies, and once you come in, and you might have a pivoting strategy at some point in time. So at that point in time, whether we will be able to encourage you to pivot the strategy, and how we will help you to pivot the strategy, that is whether you will be taken out of the Evolute program to pivot the strategy, or whether after pivoting the strategy, you can still continue as a part of Ramaiah Evolute. Those are the things that is a matter of discussion and matter of understanding where the startup is on its runway. It's a pretty detailed discussion at that point in time. But of course, we select the 10 startups, we'll provide the grants initially, and then look at how the startups are framing, and then take it to the entire 18-month, 24-month program, and ensure the success of this particular startups.
Okay. Murali, the next two questions if you could take. The first one is, do you have trained OD practitioners in the mentor group?
Okay, we do have trained partners in the ecosystem. We have the list of mentors that we have given are OD practitioners who are, the mentors who already signed up with us. But we do really have a large ecosystem of mentors that we will tap into, and definitely there are quite a few. I think well-known OD practitioners in the country that we can access to. Yeah.
Okay. The next question also to you, Murali. Are all aspects covered with respect to marketing, IPR, etc.? And will this be at an additional cost?
Okay, so the kind of help that we'll provide is basically, let's take one of them, right? Let's take IPR. So the startup may come with an IPR, and the support needed maybe is to, ring fence that IPR. So maybe you need to patent it, maybe you need to trademark it or copyright it or whatever is required. We will definitely provide that help to get, we will tell you what are required, what are the things that are required, and we can take you through the process of patenting and all that. Obviously, there'll be a cost involved. Whatever patenting costs are involved will be taken up by the startup. I mean, what will happen is that at some point, we are investing into the startup, and whatever startup spends on, like whether it is for filing a patent, that cost goes from the startup. But we will definitely handhold the process of taking the startup from one end to the other. Similarly, even for legal matters, we have a strong legal team who can help you frame legal contracts, advise you on the clauses that you need on your contracts with your customers, with your partners, with your vendors, and all that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. The next question is from Yantro Mitra Robotics STEM. We have trained about 10K students in past 20 years, but it was not as a company. Once the company was registered, COVID grounded us. So how would you take it, our revenues, etc.? So Samartha, you want to take this? Want me to read it again?
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, the question is this company has been running training for students for the last 20 years, but they've been grounded because of COVID. So how do we take this forward, our revenues, etc. is the question. So I don't know if they have an idea at this point, but it seems like they'd like to get some help in taking this forward is what I understand.
It's a matter of discussion. And probably if you want one-on-one clarification, you can reach out either to Murali or me, and you can get the one-on-one clarification also done. We are all available. I mean, you can message in LinkedIn or any other way, and all our contacts are published as well. So specific cases we can definitely address. And a lot of companies, we understand that the COVID situation globally and specifically in India has impacted quite a bit of startups, and companies which have been doing good and had revenues earlier to COVID have been struggling now. And a lot of, I mean, just to give you, in the first wave, US alone had to shut about 500,000 companies in various forms. It includes all sorts of companies. It includes hotels to every other thing. So there is a lot of impact on COVID, on startups due to the COVID. But we will be encouraged to look at the idea and how this idea is developed, framed. Can it take the post-pandemic kind of environment? So all those things are important. So we will have a one-on-one discussion with such kind of companies, and you are always welcome to reach out to us to seek any clarifications. We get a lot of questions and clarifications from various startups. Please feel free to reach out.
Just let me just add one point. Yes. See, I mean, when we do actually evaluation for a company, revenue is just one part, right? I mean, especially for a startup, the revenue is a small part. It may not actually be significant at all. So once the fact that this company has done run with this idea, they have trained 10,000 students and all that, and so I think that itself is a framework that we will look at, as an idea, and what is looked at, and we would evaluate the company's value at that level. That will be a typical framework that we would do.
Thank you, Murali. The next question is, what is the selection criteria for startups? How do I ensure my startup is able to receive Ramaiah Evolute support? Murali, you could take this too.
Yeah. So I think Samartha just talked about it initially. I think what we will do is that there are multiple dimensions on which typically a startup is evaluated, or the potential for a startup is evaluated. We look at what the idea is. We look at whether the idea has wings, whether it's possible for it to scale, what are the market segment it's addressing, and is it a large enough market segment? Is there a business feasibility in that market segment? We look at the founders. We look at the commitment, the enthusiasm, the commitment, that the overall drive that the founders bring into the startup, which is actually a lot more important than what you've done till now. Because in my opinion, if you have a good set of founders and a great idea, I think it can go much longer. The third one would be in terms of what have you done till now? Is the technology developed and all that, and what is the kind of funding that is required? So it will be whether it is possible within the Ramaiah Evolute framework. If you're looking at a very large funding, for example, it may or may not be possible. So we may actually be able to put it together with our partners. So it is a possibility. But there may be a situation where we are not able to fund to that level. So if you're looking at a $10 million funding, it may not be something that we are looking at this point of time. So I think those are the overall parameters on which we evaluate the startup.
Thank you, Murali. The next question, Samartha, if you could take this. Will there be an NDA between Ramaiah Evolute and startup companies participating with respect to copyright, confidentiality of concepts, ideas? Can you please elaborate on this?
Of course, there will be an NDA, and the IPs of the company belong to the company. And whatever support that you are taking in terms of market research or anything that support that you take, you're paying institutional cost and taking the support. Again, the IP is yours. Okay, it's not shared IP. You walk with your IPs. So that's the most important piece for the startups to understand. And of course, there will be NDA, and the ideas will be safeguarded. The patents will be safeguarded. We are all a bunch of professionals, and our idea is to ensure that the startup succeeds. So that is the overall idea, and that is the reason why we want to give all the abilities and all enablement, but also the founders are the creators of that company. So we recognize that particular thing. It is their IP, it is their technology, it is okay. So we completely understand that, and we'll be ensuring that everything is safe. So that's very crucial for us.
Murali, if you could take this, will you be publishing the test infrastructure that is being offered to understand our fitment in this system? I think it's a broad question, but you could still give your answer in this respect.
I think what I would suggest right now is that you could, reach out to us, on a one-on-one basis. We could discuss that. We actually publishing all the details in the internal websites of, Ramaiah Evolute. We're not put it out yet, but reach out to any one of us and we can discuss it, and we can see if if the infrastructure that we have matches your requirements.
Okay. Next question is this program only for tech-driven ideas? Again, a broad question.
Yeah. So I would say that largely, yes, we are looking at some aspects of the technology, but I don't know if there is any startup where there is no tech involved. Okay, so I can't imagine a startup at this point in time where there is no tech involved. Be it food delivery to be it anything, there is a lot of tech involved. Any simple thing, okay, there is a tech involved, and the tech need not be computing, IT, and those kind of stuff. There could be technologies. For example, somebody wants to do a green project on some specific thing. Okay, so there is a technology involved. So without tech, what is it? I don't understand at this point in time. But essentially, we are looking at every company, every piece has technology in it. Okay, but not necessarily computing, IT kind of technology. Very ground. Okay, if you are just, for example, if you have the best idea of how to dig a ground, okay, so that could be as lame as that. I mean, we have been digging ground ever since the evolution, but now if you see, there is technology after technology after technology which is coming into digging ground. So I mean, everything has technology in it. So that's largely.
So we are roughly about maybe 10 minutes away from the scheduled time that we have for the event. While we're waiting for questions, Samartha, since you've been a successful serial entrepreneur, it'll be nice if you could kind of list the top attributes that have helped you become successful, because we have a lot of entrepreneurs on this call. It'll be great if you could share your experience in terms of top takeaway bites, if I could call it.
Essentially, as Murali said, okay, having a positive mind and having optimism. Okay, so a perpetual optimism is required for anybody to run behind a vision. Okay, so that's the most important attribute that any entrepreneur can have. While having that perpetual optimism, not putting your ego into it, okay, is another major attribute. So that if you're humble enough, your ability to absorb wisdom from all directions is critical. So I think these are largely the two. If you have passion in you, and if you want to make something big out of your life and have some, okay, so you will be running. Okay, once you're running, the two major obstacles is either a self-doubt or a doubt about the idea or a doubt about the market or a doubt. So in that kind of a doubt scenario, that you require the optimism to go on. And in terms of once you have that optimism, the other thing which will block your mind is your ego. So you will stay humble, okay, so that you can absorb wisdom from 360 degrees. So there will be a lot of people giving different kind of wisdom, and you might say that, okay, I know it everything, I know it all kind of an attitude will be there. Especially if you are running behind a vision, I know it all attitude will be there. But stay humble in terms of your intellect. Keep your intellectual ego. Whereas the same intellectual ego is the one which drives your idea, you still have to have the other thing going. So balance it out. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Thank you, Samartha, for that. That I'm sure was helpful. Murali, if you could take this question, how decision-making conflicts are handled between Evolute and startups?
Okay, that's a interesting question. First of all, okay, so it's very generic. So I think let's look at it this way. The day-to-day operating decisions on the startup are taken by startup founders, right? They are the ones who are running running their companies. The mentors, the Evolute, we are investors, we are influencers in your ecosystem. We would like to give you advice. We'd like to, show you direction. But ultimately, it's for the founders to take the decision, right? I mean, we don't take the decision. It's a founder's company. They're going to run it. So we will definitely provide the inputs. We would, we could provide wisdom as much as we have, but it doesn't mean that we will take decisions for you. We are not taking any of the startup decisions. All those decisions are yours. Any other thing, which is an issue between the startup and the Evolute. We have a contract framework. Okay, we set up a contract saying that this is what we're going to do, this is how much we will invest, and all that. All those things are actually drawn out right up front. So the chances of conflict on those are not very high. And if there are conflicts, I think standard conflict resolution mechanisms. We will call a meeting, we'll discuss, and we'll resolve the conflict, right? So that's what we normally do. I don't think we would enjoy taking startups to court, for example, right? That's the last thing that anyone wants to do. So nobody is interested in dragging ourselves in the court and wasting our time and the startup's time. So typically, I think everything that we would want to resolve, we will resolve through discussions.
Perfect. I think that's the way most conflicts are resolved. So thank you.
Yep.
Samartha, if you could take this, will my idea be encouraged in case the deployment is expected to span 2 to 3 years, or should it be within the 18 months window?
Any idea is encouraged. The runway, okay, if you have a 2 to 3 year runway, and in that runway, what is the kind of milestone that you achieve? Okay, so that is the most important piece. The go-to-market for most of the startups might be beyond 18 months, beyond 24 months kind of a stuff. We are not looking at definitely we will be we will be eager to see the proof of concept and proof of revenues and proof of profits. So these three proofs we want to see, but at the same time, we might not have the runway till the proof of revenues or proof of profits in multiple cases. So at that point in time, we'll look at what milestones. So if you can achieve within 18-24 months, reasonable amount of milestones where you are ready for some prime time in terms of either Series B, not go to market necessarily, not proof of revenues necessarily, not proof of profitability necessarily, but even for a, if you're on a prime time for a Series B, then you can still apply. And every company, every startup can apply. We will judiciously look at what are all the milestones that you can reach within that particular time frame.
Thank you. That was helpful. The next question we have is, are there any corporates part of this ecosystem already? Murali, want to take this?
Yeah, we will be bringing in corporate partners into the ecosystem. We do have partners or patrons, as they're called. We have about 8 patrons as of now who are already signed on. And we would bring in more and more corporate and investment community partners into the ecosystem. The idea is that from the corporates or investors side, they get an early view of the startup. They get to see how the startup is functioning, or how a set of startups are functioning at any given point of time. And from a startup perspective, they could present their views to the corporate. They could present their views to investors. They could also get feedback on where they're going, some directions that they're going in. So nobody has a patent on which direction should you take, right? So we would advise you, founders will have directions, but getting advice from as many prominent, influential people is very, very important. So I think we will get view from corporates and investors, and startups would gain a lot from that as well.
Okay, we're almost at the top of the hour. We're at 11:43. Any last minute, tidbits that Samartha and Murali, you guys want to share individually before we kind of close on the webinar?
Yeah, from a timeline perspective, we have extended by another 15 days. So we encourage all the startup and startup founders to look at this particular thing. Again, it's very important to understand that the Star Startup Award is exclusive from the Evolute program. So even companies which just want to get recognized with the Ramaiah Evolute, you can apply, and you need not have the Evolute program because you might be in Series B, Series C, wherever you are in your path and your journey. So that distinction is very critical for all the people who are listening to us.
Yeah, I think nothing specific. If there are other questions and questions that you're going to have maybe later, please reach out to us. You can catch us on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or any one of those social media places, or you could come to our website. All of us are ready to answer your questions.
Okay. So we are right on top of the hour. So thank you all for taking the time out on a busy Monday morning to participate in our webinar. Thank you, Samartha and Murali, for sharing your experience and advice from both your enterprise as well as startup journeys. I think I'm hoping this would be a useful conversation and definitely encourage more people to apply for Ramaiah Evolute. So thank you one and all for being part of this webinar this morning. And all the best to everybody with passionate ideas to make their dreams come true.
Thanks, Sumitha. Thank you, Murali.
Thank you, Sumitha.
Thank you.